Coming to you live from my apartment, it's Rob Has a Podcast. And now here's the guy who sneaks out of bed every single night, multiple times to go to the bathroom. I'm Rob Cesternino. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Rob Has a Podcast. And we are here after episode number 9 to talk with one of my faves from Survivor 46. I thought that she was going to take it all the way, and who knows? Maybe one day she will. Here she is. Tiffany Nicole Ervin is here. Tiffany, how are you?
I'm good. I'm happy to be back. It's been a while, Rob.
Yes, it's been, when did we talked, it was the night before Thanksgiving when we talked with Hunter.
Yes.
And that was so fun.
That was fun. Now I'm back. I'm ready to talk some mess, break down some episodes.
Well, in between then, we did a little thing called RHAP Traders.
That was fun. I thought I was going to win. I was close. I was so close.
You were the Danielle Reyes of RHAP Traders.
I was robbed.
Yes. Were you the villain of the season?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I guess it depends on who you ask.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. If that daggone Bowie Jane.
Frickin' Bowie Jane. Yeah. That's what they said. That's what Felicia, that was her famous catchphrase in Big Brother 25 that she used to say. It was Rob is rusty on the soundboard, but used to say
Bowie Jane.
Yeah. Still got it. All right. Anyway, Tiffany, what's new with you?
I don't know what's new. I'm still living in LA. I'm still doing art. Shameless plug. If you guys want to buy some prints or originals, hit up my site, Tiffany-Nicole.com. I'm still hanging with my bestie Juju.
Hey, Juju.
Really enjoying season 48. I'm finally, I'm excited to talk about it because I feel like this is the episode where they finally crack things open.
Yes. Finally. The post-merge game has been broken open to some degree.
Yes.
Who's on your shirt?
Oh, this is Selena.
Okay. Cool. All right.
Love her.
Tiffany, this was the big episode where David went home. I had a chance to talk to David this morning, and it was a lively exit interview with David.
Really? How did that go? I would love to. What's his hot takes?
So that he came in a little bit hot. I mean, as David does. And honestly, I don't mind it.
I can imagine.
Yeah. But he came in and his perspective was like, hey, I was right. And Joe and Eva are, I don't want to put words in his mouth. I'm trying to remember exactly how he described them. But he said that they were foolish to, I know that was not his exact word. I don't remember exactly how but he's said that
somewhere
was
in that wheelhouse.
Yeah, that was, they make, why would they get rid of a perfectly loyal ally like him? What do you think, Tiffany?
So here's the thing, right? It's a double-sided coin for me because on the one hand, David's not wrong. He pegged it. He saw that Kyle and Shauhin were fighting for Kamilla because unbeknownst to everybody else, Kamilla is Kyle's number one. But on the flip side, it's like, David, you're doing too much. I understand you see this, but Survivor is a game where you cannot push. You cannot do too much because then you're going to push your allies away. And that's exactly what he did. Did he call a spade? Yes. But I think the thing that broke the straw that broke the camel's back was when he said to Joe that he went back on his word. Because then it's like, I get it, but babe, you gotta relax. Gotta let people think that is their idea, and you can't force it on them.
Yeah, and Joe reacted very negatively to that. Could you tell when that happened in the episode that was going to be the breaking point for Joe?
Absolutely, because up until that point, Joe had really been just I'm not gonna say going along with everything that David said, but it seemed like they were more in lockstep. But I could tell that was the first time that David really pissed him off, aggravated him. Because even when David and Kyle had their little tiff last time, Joe was kind of sitting back. You could tell he was starting to take the bait that they were feeding him. But once David showed Joe himself, I'm starting to critique you and your thought processes and your gameplay, that's when Joe was like, okay, now you got to really chill. It's all right to go at everybody else. But once you start coming at my character, now we got a problem.
So this season got filmed. They left right after they watched your season, and they saw it all the way to completion. Okay? And then this season, now we start to hear from some of these players like, hey, we want to play the game a different way. We're not playing it like all these other people that were liars and people that like took out their allies. We're going to play the game and have people that stick together, people who are honest, have integrity, loyal.
That's so funny. What a juxtaposition to my season.
What do you think of that, Tiffany?
I think it's hilarious how much watching a season like mine could potentially influence somebody to go the opposite route. Because while my season was entertaining to watch, you know, backstabbing and lying, it does cause chaos. And I can see that this season they're trying to avoid that, but I really want them to wake up and understand that, babe, this is Survivor. That's the point. Chaos and paranoia are unavoidable, no matter how loyal you are.
Yeah, and I don't want to just like disparage what David is saying, because I do think that like to some degree, like I think we're kind of seeing between like Joe and Eva, like can you have like a relationship with two people, maybe with three, with there being a final three. And I think you can have somebody that you trust in completely. You tell them everything like, hey, basically, I got you. We're never going to turn on each other. I do think you could have that. I don't think you can have that with a group of 5 or 6 people.
I 100% wholeheartedly agree. There are seasons where like I've seen people be loyal to each other and I'm like, oh my gosh, love that. Like one of my favorite seasons and duos is Natalie and Jeremy. Mm-hmm. Love the way they rode for each other. Love the way they had each other's back all the way until, you know, they weren't in the game together anymore. However, I think it's a little naive to think that you can stay 6 strong and 6 loyal to the end. Like 2, fine. 6, y'all dragging it.
Yeah. And I feel like, did you have that with Kenzie? Now we saw that Kenzie maybe was thinking about other things about you, but as far as from your perspective, I don't ever remember where you were talking about going against her.
Yeah, I think, well, here's the thing, right? I think nobody on our season had that, if we're being completely honest. Yeah. Because I don't think there was ever a point where anybody on our season didn't say the name of somebody else. However, I do think that Kenzie and I were super tight, but we were also of the mindset that like, there's only one person walking away with this money. And when I went out of the game, I was like, well, since it can't be me, I hope it's my girl. You know, I don't think it was like, we were loyal to each other to the point where it's like, okay, as long as it doesn't affect my game. So I guess close enough, right?
Yeah. It's interesting. I feel like that Kyle and Kamilla are the pair that they feel like that they could have fit right in Survivor 46. That, okay, hey, we're a duo, but we're kind of going to hide it. We're both good. You know, we both really want to win. I could see a scenario where maybe Kyle might look at Kamilla and say, okay, I can't beat her, or vice versa. Whereas Joe and Eva, to me, are the pair that is the outlier of like not even trying to hide anything. Hey, we're a duo. Deal with it, everybody.
Yeah. I love Kyle and Kamilla and their gameplay and the way they've been navigating the game so far. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. The juxtaposition between Kyle and Kamilla and Joe and Eva is that I think Kyle and Kamilla are playing the game together, whereas Joe and Eva are kind of just like, you know, let's just lock arms and try to knock everybody over until we get to the end. And I've really been enjoying the dynamics of Kyle and Kamilla a little bit more because it feels more like authentic Survivor versus just like, oh, we're so strong and we have this emotional bond and that's what's going to defeat everything. Like, no, you're still playing a game.
I agree with you that to me, you know, Kyle and Kamilla and what they're doing is like the epitome of like what Survivor is supposed to be. And certainly the way that I would see myself as a player in the game. But I also like have to marvel that seems to be a lot of power in what Joe and Eva have, in that neither of them are like playing this this strategically exciting game.
Yeah.
But they are a duo. They're public. Eva has advantages. And it seems like that people are very afraid to try to attack that.
Yeah. It's cute. It's just not exciting to watch. And I think the only reason
But it's working.
It's only working because they're good at challenges. If Joe and Eva were bad at challenges, both of them would be home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, it's literally only working because they're good at challenges and Eva has advantages. Kyle and Kamilla, they're navigating the game through gameplay, not just like trying to strong arm their way through it. And I mean, there's more than one way to play the game. So hats off to Joe and Eva and Kyle and Kamilla. My preference is just to watch that Kyle and Kamilla style gameplay.
Okay. Coming out of this tribal council where David goes home, okay, if you're Kyle and Kamilla now at this point, what do you think the next move is?
Ooh, that is tough. Sorry, hold on. Alexa, stop. Alexa.
Wait, you have like a reminder, right?
Yes. I have a reminder. Every day around this time, Alexa gives me a mental health and a physical health tip.
Yeah, I remember because I think the last time we were doing a podcast, I think we did your deep dive, and you got the same update.
Yep, every day.
Yes, and how is that? Is that something that has been good for you to get the random tip from ALEXA?
Yeah, it is pretty helpful because sometimes you forget the self-care and the physical stuff. It goes to the wayside, especially on those days and those weeks where you're super busy and you don't have time to think about yourself. So on the days where I don't think about myself, she thinks about me like, hey, make sure you're taking care of yourself, girl.
I love that. Can you think of one good tip that she's given you that you think people would want to know?
Yes. I think my favorite tip that she's given me, and I will try to execute this for the rest of my life, just be in the moment. I feel like a lot of us, when we are, whether we be with our friends at an event, doing something, our minds are usually multiple places at one time, especially me. It's so hard for me to be present because I'm always thinking about what's next. What am I going to do when I get home? What am I going to eat for dinner? But to settle your mind and just literally be in that moment and only think about who you are with and what you are doing, it brings you so much extra peace.
Yeah. On that, do you feel like that when you are out playing Survivor, is that easier to do, to be in the moment than in real life? Or is there too much going on Survivor that's actually harder?
Oh, it's so much harder to do on Survivor. Actually, I think that was the downfall of my game. I was trying to be too many places mentally at one time, especially the day I went home, because there were so many different things going on. I can remember sitting there thinking about what I was going to do when I got back to camp that night at tribal council, instead of paying attention to what was going on around me and the social cues and the conversations where I might have been able to pick up on the fact that people were lying to me.
Yeah. But don't you have to juggle so many balls on Survivor?
You do. And I think that's the beauty of the game. You got to make it work. But I think the way to navigate it is you have to just pay attention to what's in front of you. That's actually interesting because it made me think about the part of the episode where Star was asking people, I think it might have been a deleted scene. Star was asking people about, who do you see in your final three? And Shauhin said he has.
I didn't see this yet. Yeah.
Okay. So this was a deleted scene then. It just came across the feed. But Shauhin and Joe both told her that they hadn't thought that far ahead. And she was like, y'all lying. I know y'all have. Of course they thought that far ahead. But Shauhin said something interesting. He was like, I'm just trying to pay attention to what's going on now. And I think it is important, while you should think about your final three, you got to literally just pay attention to the day, because final three does not matter if you don't make it to the next tribal council.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I had started off and I had asked you about Kyle and Kamilla's next move before.
Yes, I was about to say, we went on a whole tangent.
Yeah. And and I want to come back to Star also. But as far as Kyle and Kamilla goes, I think it's interesting because the previews sort of started to make it seem like that maybe there is going to be this group of people that are at the bottom. And that's kind of what happened in Survivor 46, where the people who were a little bit, there was the big power, the strong six.
Oh my God, that was such a joke.
There was a strong six though.
at least on this season, the 6 actually did something together. We said we were a 6, and then the first move we made was turning on each other. So that was a complete joke.
But the people who weren't in the strong 6, did get together in Survivor 46. So, but what happens here is you have Kamilla, you have Star, you have Mitch, you have Mary now, who are all not in the group, formerly known as the Strong 5. But is Kyle ready to cut bait on Joe and Eva and Shauhin?
I think Kyle's probably not going to be ready. And if I were him, I wouldn't do it this soon either, because Kyle is in a really good position. He's kind of in the middle. Everybody trusts him. I think the best move for Kyle and Kamilla next episode is to get rid of Mary, because Mary's the only one that's like sweating Kamilla right now. She wants Kamilla out so bad, and she's really the only one that's putting heat on Kyle or Kamilla. So I think to give their duo a little bit of breathing room, they got to get rid of Mary.
Yeah, they don't have to necessarily make this move where there's 8 people left. They could get rid of one more person on the bottom and then end up going back with, Kyle and Kamilla and Mitch and Star. They would be, 4 against 3. But I do feel like that Mary is so interesting because we saw her with Say, where even though she didn't really love Say so much afterwards, but she was kind of willing to like turn her opinion around about Say. And I could see a scenario where Kamilla and Mary, as people who are both kind of like strong personalities, straight shooters, like I think that where else is Mary going to go? Like I think that Mary is going to be a scrambler.
I think that's the problem. Mary is a scrambler, and Mary is very malleable when it comes to her gameplay. So Mary could very well go with Joe and Eva. She could also go with Mitch and Star, because Eva trusts Mary, and Joe's going to trust whatever Eva trusts for the most part. So I think the fact that she wants Kamilla out, it will put Kamilla and Kyle in a bit of a more powerful position, because now Kyle still has a direct line to Joe and Eva and Shauhin, and Kamilla more or less is, I guess she's kind of in with Mitch and Star. So I think if you remove Mary from the equation, that removes anybody that wants either one of them out of the game, and they still have a little bit of wiggle room to sway either way.
I'm worried about Shauhin next.
Okay.
I think that he could be the person.
Get him out next.
I think that if Kyle does anything, I don't think that they do a direct attack on Joe and Eva, but I think that they feel like, okay, well, if we, nibble a little bit and we could get Shauhin next, then now Joe and Eva really have nowhere to go.
Yeah, I could see them wanting to make a move on Shauhin, especially since Star brought that up this episode.
Yeah, that was a surprise to me, because I felt like that Shauhin had kind of been, trying to foster some relationships with some of these people that were sort of on the outs. And I was surprised that Star came in and threw his name out.
I wasn't surprised by that, because up until this point, I'm not exactly sure who Star is working with.
Yeah.
Star is working with Star, which is fine, because, in a game like this, you got to be able to be flexible and make moves. But it didn't really surprise me that she wanted Shauhin out, because I haven't seen them really do anything together for real.
Yeah.
And Shauhin's a good player. He's strong. And Star's not stupid.
Yeah. I'd love to talk a little bit about Star. I think she's been such an interesting person this season, because, every time she's on the screen, everybody's like, wow, like this person is incredible. More of this. But she's somebody who has not had their vote for most of the game. That Star found that beware advantage very early on. And unlike you, you were able to get your vote back right away, and God knows you needed it. Right?
Yeah, sure did.
But Star kind of like was looked at somebody, okay, she doesn't have a vote. She can't open the beware advantage. She was trying to get people to help her unlock the thing. And
I
then
hated that. I hated that so bad. I would have rather threw that thing into the ocean to give it away to somebody else.
Oh, you hated that it happened to her?
She gave it away. Yeah. What? No. Oh my God, that burned my soul up. I'm like, giving it away. I mean, granted, after watching a season like mine, fine. I understand wanting to get rid of the idol. It probably is cursed. Mm-hmm. But I just you would have had to get that up off my cold dead body.
Yeah, because on the one hand, like it was a good move, I thought at the time, because it really took a lot of heat off of her. But I think at the same token, like she kind of like ends up like not really having any voice in the game where, yeah, she has a vote back then. And I think she must have voted on 1 or 2 of the votes, but then she loses her vote again. And it just seems like that people aren't really like taking her seriously as one of the players that are out there.
I agree with that more or less. I do enjoy watching Star play. She's hilarious. And I feel like she brings a certain level of entertainment to the game that is necessary. But I am waiting to see, like, I feel like we're seeing a little bit more of like her headspace, how she's thinking, how she wants to play. But I'm waiting to see her like make a real move or like make something shake. I hate it when she gave Eva that idol because I'm like, girl, what are you doing? Like, yeah. And even in that moment, it didn't really solidify that relationship with Eva in the way she thought it did. So that's
it's not like she's part of the alliance now.
She's not. It's like you gave away your idol and you're still on the outs. And I think it helped and it hurt in the same breath, right? It helped her because, like you said, it took some of that heat off of her because Eva was like pressed trying to get her out. But now it's like they're not thinking about you because they de-weaponized you. So it's like you're not scary. You're not really going against them, even though like she's had opportunities to do so. Maybe she's waiting it out. I'm hopeful that Star's gonna pull something out of her back pocket.
Should she go back to Eva and say like, hey, you know, I gave you that idol and now you don't even tell me the plan. Like, give me it back.
No.
Come on, Eva.
So she should never have given that idol to her in the first place. But I think at this point in the game, it will cause way too much of a tussle for her to try to get that idol back. They will vote her out before she gave that idol back.
She also went to Eva and was like, hey, Charity is saying your name. Yeah. She tried.
She did. And that's what makes me so annoyed by this whole dynamic is because she's extended several olive branches and Eva's kind of just been like, thanks, girl. Okay. And then like dipped out and did her own thing. And I'm like, girl, I wanted her to just kind of flip it around and be like, okay, you don't want to play with me back. I got something for you. But now Eva got all these advantages and idols and everything else. I don't even think she's going to go home no time soon.
I'd love to get your thoughts on Joe. And he's a player who I think is so interesting in the game because that it's something that like we don't really see him doing like a ton of strategizing, but he's somebody who has like such a quiet power. And I feel like that so many of the other players like are really walking on eggshells around Joe. And then David wasn't, and you saw what happened to him. What do you think about Joe?
I think Joe is a great player, especially physically. He's been killing it at challenges. I don't know if I know too much where Joe's head is when it comes to strategy, though. He just seems like he's leading with his integrity and his word. And being a man of his word is his game. I think that is it. I don't really know what else he has in his back pocket, but it's kind of hard for me to label him as like a strategist or somebody who's really navigating this game in a sneaky way, because clearly he's not. But it's also interesting to see somebody be so truthful and like successful. But I think that also has to do with the fact that he's been so insulated for so long. He's been winning challenges and he's had people around him kind of insulating him and keeping him safe with this alliance.
Yeah, I think I would have really struggled with playing with a player like Joe. I feel like that, you know, it's like Joe has like a sense of like, okay, here's who we are. Here's how we conduct our business. And then anything that's different than that, I feel like he's not verbal about it, but I think he gives you a look. Yeah. And the look is like, I don't like what you're doing right now.
Yeah, it's kind of like a disapproving dad.
Yeah,
that's the vibes I get from him. He seems like a very rigid player, not somebody who can kind of flex and change and go with the flow, which, I mean, kudos to him, is working. You got to know who you're playing with. You got to know what season you're on. But I am curious to see how far that gets him. I mean, it's got him far. If he can keep winning challenges, I don't think it will matter.
I really feel like that Kyle is in the tightest spot here. I don't think he's in the worst position, but he's in a tough spot here with Joe because he's had to, since the swap, be working closely with Joe. And so he has to present this one side of his personality to Joe of, hey, I'm like the, straight shooter. And yeah, and he told, that great story about some of the trouble that he got into, and he really bonded with Joe about that. But at the same time, if Joe knew how much Kyle was scheming on the side, he'd be furious.
He would. And I think that's what makes it difficult to play with somebody like Joe, because I don't think he's the type of player that will respect game moves like that. It's like, yeah, this is a game of lying. This is a game of deceit. But I guess he just refuses to play like that, and he refuses to accept anybody that does that. Because, every once in a while, people go to tribals, you get lied to, you find out, it's like, all right, y'all got me. But then you flex and you go with the flow and you adapt. I don't think Joe is very adaptable when it comes to that.
Do you feel like, was there anybody on Survivor 46 that had that similar mentality?
What mentality? Integrity and truth?
Out of 18, like nobody, right? Like, and not to say there's anything, certainly there's nothing wrong with that, but it feels like that everybody was kind of like, okay, this is what Survivor is in Survivor 46. But this season, I feel like that we do have these players who have like a little bit of a different philosophy of what Survivor is about.
Yeah, I cannot think of one person on my season that was like, I'm going to keep it honest and truthful this whole time, and no matter what. Absolutely not. My season was a pit of snakes.
Yeah.
But that's fine, because that's the way they cast us, and they knew what they were doing when they did that. This season is the complete opposite, and that's fine too, because it's working for them.
Yeah. What about Banu?
No. Well, you know what? Actually, I take that back. Banu was a person who tried to lie, but was very bad at it. He was truthful in the moments where he had no business being truthful. It's like, why are you going and giving information to people on the other tribe about us to put targets on our backs? Biden was truthful to a fault.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. What about Mitch? Do you have a good read on where he is in everything?
You know what? I am uncertain about Mitch. Not in a bad way, though. I think Mitch is playing a really good game right now. You can tell Mitch is good at challenges, but he's not like so overt with it where he's scaring anybody. Mitch seems to be a good personality. He seems like Mr. Congeniality out there. Like, nobody really has anything to say about him negatively other than the fact that, oh, Mitch is such a good player, he could be dangerous. But I don't think he's doing too much to put a target on his back. I think people are just scared of him because he's a likable guy.
Yeah, he's a likable guy. I feel like he has a good story. And now he has really not too much going on, but he did end up being the first person that Joe picked in the rewards. Tiffany, what do you make about this, that Joe said, all right, first pick. I have to pick Mitch. He hasn't eaten.
Yeah, I think that was...
They would never do that on Survivor 46.
LOL. You see what happened at the Applebee's reward? Q did not care that Liz was hungry. He did not care.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I think that was sweet. And again,
Maria didn't care either.
She sure didn't. I'm telling you, Survivor 46 is a different animal. But it speaks to Joe's character. He's somebody who is, he's like that dad figure. He's looking out for everybody around him. He wants everybody to know, hey, you can trust me. I care about you. And despite the fact that I'm playing against you, I'm not going to like do you dirty. And Mitch was complaining about like, how he was hungry. He was the only person who didn't go on a reward. So I do think that while that was sweet and definitely true to Joe's character, it could also be a good game move, because now Mitch might feel indebted to him if Joe's name ever comes across his plate. Although, I don't know, Mitch doesn't strike me as that type of player. He would probably send Joe home if he had the chance.
Yeah, I think that Mitch is one of these people that's on the bottom, like looking so badly to make a move. I'm not sure if the, what was it, ham and cheese sandwich is going to...
chocolate-covered strawberries.
Yeah, how do they keep the chocolate-covered strawberries from melting?
Your guess is as good as mine. I just can only assume they probably have some type of like cooling situation, maybe a cooler or something.
Yeah, I mean, last night the reward, it was just like a grab bag of that. What was it?
So many random things.
Ham and cheese and peach cobbler. How about that?
I don't know. I also feel like this season has been getting a lot of rewards. I don't remember us having that many rewards.
Tiffany,
before.
you know what I noticed last night? I kind of feel like that. Did we? I'm trying to think of like you can soft launch. Did we soft unlaunch the rice negotiation? Is that
like low key? Because what's happening here? I'm like, our season felt so brutal. Like we didn't get as many rewards. The rice negotiation was a disaster. I feel like
they stopped it. I feel like that we would have had it already.
Yeah, I think people are kind of, well, what do you need rice for? They're getting all these rewards.
They get all these rewards now because we did it last season, and it was that they gave up 7 shots in the dark. And then this season, I feel like we didn't have it. I know that Jeff said that I think it was Survivor 43, where he was like, everybody knows this is when we do the rice negotiation. And I was like, since when? But now it seems like we stopped it.
You never know. There's still time. Maybe they'll do it next episode.
Well, they're going to give them rice on what is it, day 17, day 18 now?
Honestly, I don't even think there's a point in giving them rice. They just had a whole ham and cheese dinner spread.
Yeah. Just bring it out with the 39-day breakfast or 26-day breakfast.
Yeah. At this point, I don't even think rice is necessary.
Yeah. The game's almost
Nor
over.
do I think they would choose it. I know we, at that point where he offered us rice, we're like, man, listen, we do not care. We want immunity.
Yeah. Only Liz got it, right?
Yeah. And that's because Liz couldn't eat anything else.
Yeah. And how many people were there do you remember?
Oh, it might have been like 8 or 9. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were what?
Maybe
8?
10.
You were 8?
I went out 8. So it was before that.
So was it Hunter? Was Hunter there? Was Hunter there?
Hunter was there. The rice negotiation was the day we did the poll challenge.
Okay.
Because I remember Q got so mad when we got back to camp because so many people got off the poll so quickly. He was like, we could have had rice. Y'all didn't even get a chance on the poll.
Yeah. What do you think about the poll challenge that they changed it? They made it harder.
Was it harder? It looked very similar to
Jeff said no, we made it hard. We had to make it harder. I think that Hunter showed off, and then I think they said, okay, make the footholds even nothing.
I feel like next time they do the poll challenge, they're not even gonna have footholds. They're like, okay, just poll.
Yeah, just hold on there.
Well, that's what we get. Hunter shouldn't have been hanging upside down.
Yeah, he was showing off. And then what do you think about the challenge where that you and Charlie ended up going in a real battle there? But this season they said that David and Joe broke the record.
I'm not surprised. Both of them look like freaking Greek gods who work out for breakfast. So, yeah, that doesn't surprise me one bit. I did feel like this isn't about that challenge, but I did feel David when he was so disappointed this challenge where he was like, you know, I had it. I had so much left in the tank, because that's how I felt when me and Charlie were going head to head for that grip challenge. I had so much left in the tank and I only lost because it slipped. My hands got sweaty and it slipped, but like I wasn't fatigued at all. So when he said that, I was like, dang, I feel him. Like I
Tiffany,
really do.
I've been saying, you know, Charlie said, hey, everybody, hey, future survivors, this is all about your grip string, and every survivor got the grip things from Amazon. And then I think it's a who has the least sweaty hands challenge. I
agree. That sweat is what did me in. And the sweat, I had so much left in the tank and my hand slipped. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I could have won. I was solid.
Yeah. If you had gloves, you would have won.
Oh, if I had gloves, we would have been there till the sun went down.
Could you beat David?
Probably not.
Okay.
But like, you know, I'm going to be realistic.
But Charlie,
I could have won.
Because Charlie, we saw him in Boston. He said he could have beat David.
Okay. Well, it's nice for Charlie to be so optimistic about things. But I personally do not think that Charlie would have beat David, nor do I think I would have beat David. They were out there for so long.
Mm-hmm. Charlie
was struggling when we were out there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm going to have to text Charlie after this. Like, boy, why are you lying?
Okay. How about, we haven't talked too much about Eva. And am I giving Eva like the short shrift in all of this? Because I really don't see Eva as a person that if she goes to the end, I don't think that the jury will award the game to Eva. What do you think?
If I'm being honest, I am right there with you. I do not think if Eva goes to the end, they're going to give her this game. I think that, how do I word this in a diplomatic way? I think that Eva is another player who's been very insulated by those around her. Mm-hmm. She's great at challenges, but other than that, I don't really see what she's done to shift the culture of what's going on out there.
Yeah. I think she's certainly well liked, and I think that people have a respect for her, but I feel like that people don't really look at her as having like a lot of decision-making power in the group. Like, I think that even on this vote last night, people say like, okay, well, I'm going to check with Joe and Eva, but I think they're really going to check with Joe. And Joe is like, okay, I'm not going to make this move if Eva doesn't like it. But like, I do feel like, and I've made this comparison a lot of like, it's a little bit like Rob and Amber in terms of like Survivor All-Stars, where it's like, okay, well, Rob's not going to, maybe he might still do it, but probably not if Amber hates the idea. But, it's you have to sell Rob, not Amber.
I agree to a certain extent. I do think that at least from appearances wise, because we all know we've been out there, there's a lot that doesn't get shown, but it does feel like the relationship with Joe and Eva is a little bit codependent when it comes to decision making, and it doesn't give me the impression that Eva's in the driver's seat at all.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even giving they switch places every once in a while. So I think the only reason people tiptoe is because of Joe. Not because of Eva.
Okay. I'd love to hear your thoughts on, the decision that ultimately got made of that. Here is David is saying, hey, let's vote out Mitch. Now you have Kyle, you have Shauhin saying, okay, we have to vote out David. Do you think for Joe and Eva, did they make the right choice?
By getting rid of David?
Yes.
No. I think David was not going to write down Joe and Eva under any circumstances.
Yeah, I agree.
So I do not think they made the right choice, but was it a good and entertaining choice to watch? Sure was.
Sure.
Did I? Yes, I did.
Well, I think the last two decisions has been a little bit of a window into, Joe's decision-making, where I do feel like that while like he, we saw him like get serious when David called him out and said that, hey, I think you went back on your word. But in terms of like making a decision, that I think that Joe has been reluctant to put his foot down and say, hey, this is what I want. This is what we're doing because it's what I want. I think he's been a little bit more, all right, let's hear everybody out. All right. And maybe he's making the final call, but I think he's been a little too much with the consensus of trying to keep the peace of the group. Yeah. And like, it's a little bit like me, like, it's probably nothing like me. But it's a little bit like, my kid, one kid wants Wendy's. The other one wants Dave's hot chicken. And I'm like, all right, everybody, let's make a decision where we're going.
Yeah.
All right. Mom wants Chinese. So that's what we're doing. And I think it's been a little bit more like that as opposed to what truly is best for Joe.
I completely agree. And also I would take it a step further and say that this decision to get out David, I don't really think Eva had much to do with it. I think she kind of was going along with what everybody else wanted. But I think that there was also a level of emotional reaction from Joe because he didn't like that David said he went back on his word. But also it was very evident that this was a decision that was made by Kyle and Shauhin. They manipulated them, especially that montage of Shauhin slowly feeding them little bits of things to make them distrust David. And then by the time it was time to chop him, they were like, okay, yeah, this is definitely it. But that's how you do in Survivor. You breadcrumb and hand feed people little bits of information to the point where they think it's their idea. And I think that's exactly what happened to Joe and Eva.
Did you ever do that to anybody on Survivor, Tiffany?
Me? No, I would never.
Trying to think. Who you might have breadcrumbed.
Do that.
Yeah. Too bad you didn't do that to Bowie Jane.
I know, right? I was this close. I did it a
Claire
little bit traders when it came to Claire. When Claire started to suspect me, I had to turn it around. Like, you know what, Claire, you're absolutely right. And you know what, the reason I said this, da-da-da-da. So I think that Bowie Jane, I just didn't get to her quick enough.
Yeah. When did you do that? When when Claire was faithful, or after she had got recruited?
First I did it. I changed Claire's mind while she was still a faithful, but then after that, I couldn't take a chance, so I had to recruit her.
Yeah. Okay.
Just in case she wasn't eating it up, I was like, well, you come to the dark side whether you want to or not.
Yeah. I mean, it was a exciting 6 hours of Traders RHAP. If anybody wants to go back to the archives on that. Okay. So what about from these last couple episodes? That I really felt like that this episode was a little bit more exciting. I think that the early merge in these seasons has started to be a little bit sleepy in the early merge. What do you think about, like, okay, we go from the 3 tribes, then finally now we got mergatory. We're going to then split people up, and then we do the challenge where you have all these partners and everything, and then finally, all right, now we're back to playing Survivor.
Yeah. I agree. I'm also not a fan of the whole mergatory thing where it's like we split you up, but half of y'all are safe and half of y'all are not. We send it 2 y'all home at one time. Like, I think the merge would move a lot faster if you would just keep everybody merged and force everybody to make a decision on one person consistently versus breaking them up and then but this one and that one. I think the reason why people tiptoe so much early merge is because there's always that possibility that you're going to get split up into half. And then instead of 12 people voting, there's only 5 people voting. And it's like your fate is either sealed or it's not. So everybody's like walking on eggshells.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're seeing that a lot in this, like from the point where there's 13 people to whether there's 10 where people are sort of like playing very scared?
Absolutely. How long have they been merged? I feel like this is the first episode since merge where we started to see people crack a little bit. Mm-hmm. That paranoia is finally starting to creep up and mess with people's heads. We haven't been seeing that since they merged. Not for real.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was they voted out Charity, which was sort of like a safe vote. And then that both groups took like the safe person of like, okay, let's vote out Cedric, let's vote out Say. And this was now... And then even last week, where it was they voted out Christy after they were split up for the whole day. But it's so many votes, and I feel like it's like they voted off like 4 people in 3 days.
Yeah, and none of the votes truly made an impact on the game's dynamic. I think this is the first vote where it's actually going to switch up the dynamic and the way people have to play. Everything was safe up until this point.
Tiffany, if you were out there with this group, who do you feel like would be your number one?
Ooh. That's tough to say. Probably, I want to say probably Kyle or Kamilla. I feel like they...
would you be able to break them up, or would you be the third wheel?
I don't know. I think...
Do you like the movie Holes?
What'd you say?
Do you like the movie Holes?
I do. I love the movie Holes.
Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah. Cleo Thomas was my childhood crush. But I wouldn't mind working with Mitch or Star either. Star is funny. I feel like she would be a good time. And I think that I would be willing to like play ball with her because it seems like she is ready to get in the trenches and nobody wants to get down there with her. So I feel like I might find myself down with Star shaking some things up.
Yeah, Star was like, hey, let's vote out Shauhin. And they were like, no, we can't. Not Shauhin.
Yeah, I think I would really enjoy
That's my guy. Meanwhile, Shauhin is like, hey, everybody, let's vote out David.
Yeah, I think
welcome to the party.
We haven't been seeing Star's strategy is because she doesn't have a number one out there right now that she's really willing to spitball with.
You could be the number one.
I could be her number one.
Yeah. We saw in the episode last night, finally Eva got to go after the advantage. Last week we saw that Eva had won the individual immunity and got the clue for the advantage last time. What was your reaction to seeing that they gave a advantage clue to the person that won immunity?
Okay, I have some thoughts about that. So I've been seeing some speculation about whether or not that clue was meant for Eva. Because here's my thing, right? if that clue was supposed to go to Eva, why not just give it to Eva? Why hide it in a bowl of chips? I feel like that was a little bit skeptical. I kind of rolled my eyes a little bit when I saw it in the chip bowl directly next to Eva, but then I saw name tags on the table. I'm like, that's crazy because we didn't have no name tags when we was on Survivor 46. So what's going on here? Like, if that clue was directly meant for her, then just give it to her. Tuck it into the next
So what do you think?
I don't know. I don't like the way they did it. That's what I will say, and I'll leave it there. I feel like it was strange. I feel like it was, I don't know if it was a secret clue or not. I don't think there was any way that anybody else at that table would have found it other than Eva.
Right.
So it's giving y'all wanted Eva to have it the whole time. So why did you hide it in a bowl of chips?
Yeah. But you said if they really wanted to have it, they could just give it to her.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, is it supposed to be like an illusion? Like anybody could have found it? Because if you look at that table set up, nobody else was grabbing that bowl of chips except for Eva.
Yeah.
There was other bowls of chips on the table.
Okay. Well, she gets it and she sneaks out in the middle of the night to go and try to play for a better advantage. Did you feel like that Eva made the right decisions about she got an extra vote? She risked the extra vote for safety without power. Did you agree?
Yeah, I think that was the best decision for her. And I think that that's finally a decision that she made just for her. Because had she taken the extra vote or risked for the extra vote, I think she would have been thinking about the collective and not thinking about Eva. I think she, in that moment, was like, you know what? I really don't care what happens. I'm going to keep myself safe for one vote longer. And I think that was the best idea. That was the best.
Should she have gone for the idol?
No, she already has an idol.
Yeah.
I think that why not keep yourself safe for, definitely keep yourself safe for two tribals. Like you can leave with safety without power and then you can use your idol the next time. That's guaranteed two tribals that you can get through.
Yeah. So it's now the next tribal is going to be 8. So I guess she could use it through 5. So it was 8, 7, 6, 5. So that's 4 more tribal councils she has to get through to get to making the fire. So she's got 2 things, although she might have to use one on Joe.
And you know what? I think she would use it on Joe. Would I use it on Joe?
No.
I probably would not.
I don't think so.
No, well, it depends. It depends on the circumstances, right? Yeah. If I felt like it was going to help further my game and it would be a detriment to not use it, then yeah, I would. But I think she's sitting really pretty right now. You could guarantee yourself at least 2 slots closer to the end. So I would keep it cute if I was her.
Okay.
And I will get rid of that idol as soon as possible.
How about this? So here we have Eva sneaks out at nighttime. She is going to go get her advantage. And Shauhin wakes up and he sees that Eva is gone. Now, I'm in this group chat on Chat BCC, Survivor group chat. You should jump in, Tiffany.
Okay.
There's a certain New Era winner is in the chat.
Oh.
And she's like, hey, Shauhin, what are you doing going to Joe's #1 ally to tell him, or Eva's #1 ally to tell him that Eva just snuck out of camp?
Yeah. So I could see it from both perspectives, right? Because that could have been a potentially good move. And like Star said, that could have been a crowbar move if Eva had come back to camp and not said anything to Joe, because then that would have, sprinkled a little bit of distrust in between them. But because Eva and Joe are so open with each other, she came back the next morning and told him everything. I understood why he would do it, because he's probably trying to break them up or sow a little bit of distrust. But Joe wouldn't have been the first person I went to. I would have woke the whole camp up like, y'all, where Eva at? We should go look for her.
I think Shauhin's in a tough spot because he came into this game and they had the California girls, and it was Joe and Shauhin and it was Thomas, and they had the 3, but then Joe had his other thing going on with Eva, but there was strength in numbers. But then once Thomas was gone, all of a sudden, Shauhin now became 3rd in the Joe and Eva thing. He's the 3rd wheel. And so it's going to be hard for him to ultimately, I don't know if the people on the bottom want to work with him. And I think if he goes to the end with Joe and Eva, I kind of feel like that Joe's got a pretty good shot at this thing.
Yeah, I think, first of all, I think anybody who goes to the end with Joe and Eva still intact is silly. I would have been sent one of them home. Like, what are y'all doing? Because under no circumstances is Joe ever going to choose anybody over Eva, and Eva's never going to choose anybody over Joe. So I think it'd behoove everybody to break that up as soon as possible, which is why I understood why Shauhin tried to tell Joe. Yeah. It was smart. It didn't work, but it was smart.
Okay, so Shauhin gets David out of the game, but where does Shauhin go from here?
I think Shauhin has a little bit more wiggle room than people would like to think. I think that he is still comfortably between Kyle and Kamilla and Joe and Eva. I think it will probably do him better to err a little bit more on the side of Kyle and Kamilla, at least right now, because Kyle still really trusts him. He still wants to work with him. And I think that if they could convince everybody that Joe and Eva need to be broken up, that could give him a little more breathing room in the game too.
See, I think the thing that's hard that we really haven't seen from, Shauhin's perspective in terms of his relationships is we saw it when Cedric got voted out. Kyle is like, I don't trust Shauhin. I think that, we need to come up with some reason to get David to turn on him. And then they made up the story about how, they think Shauhin could have an idol. And then we went from that to David coming away in the next episode like, Mary thinks Shauhin and Kamilla are working together. We need to vote out. Mary's weirded out by Shauhin, and the only way we can make her feel better is if we vote out Kamilla. And so we need to get Kamilla out. But I had asked David about this, about like, why did you think that Shauhin and Kamilla were so close? And you were on the original tribe with Kyle and Kamilla. Like, why didn't you think more about that? And David said he was really close with Kyle. I think that he thought that Kyle and Kamilla were good, but he didn't know that they were tight like they are on the show. But I think that if Shauhin is banking on Kamilla being a person for him, she's going to be more loyal to Kyle. I don't see how Kyle and Shauhin could coexist. I feel like they're fighting for the same spot.
Yeah, I think you're right. Honestly, it is a little tough for Shauhin. It might be better for him to go with the underdogs.
Yeah.
Start trying to break up the duos.
Yeah, it's a race.
Heat off of him.
That's exactly how I see it. I think that like the people on the bottom, like it's a race between Kyle and Shauhin, but that Kyle has the big head start in that Kamilla isn't going to do something without Kyle. So like I think that Shauhin's best move would be to like get the people on the bottom to vote out Kyle, but there's no way that Kamilla is going to do that. So he kind of needs to do with like kind of get Joe and Eva on board. He needs like a combination of Joe and Eva and like Star and Mitch to vote out Kyle next.
I don't see that happening.
I don't see it either. But I think that's what he needs.
Yeah, that's what he needs, but I do not see that happening at all. I also wonder, like, could it help Shauhin if he decided to link up with Mary? Because now Mary's number one just went on out the game. So he might have a little bit of wiggle room there.
Or the other path I see for Shauhin, and this one is a little bit of a longer play of if he can like now keep the band back together. All right, David was the problem. We got rid of David. Okay, now let's go back to vote out Star, vote out Mitch, vote out Mary. And now we get to the final 5. And now when you're at 5, now can he get back with Joe and Eva and vote out Kyle or Kamilla? Maybe he makes the fire, takes out Joe or something like that. And then he gets to the end with, I don't know, maybe Kamilla and Eva, or maybe, could he beat Kyle in the end if he gets there? But I think that's the only other path I see for Shauhin.
I agree, but I think that only works if they keep the immunity wins within that 5. Because if any one of those underdogs win immunity, it's like going to be really difficult for them because they're going to start throwing out names of the big ones.
Mitch could win an immunity.
Yeah, he could. He's been pretty good.
And Mary, they almost brought her into the strong 6.
I think Mary's going to have to do some cleaning up once she gets back because they left her out of that David vote.
They did.
I don't know if they fully trust her because just the way David was running around paranoid, Mary's been doing the same thing. So she might be next on the chopping block if she don't sit down and relax.
Yeah, well, what do you think Mary can do? Do you see a path for her?
The only thing Mary can do is stop throwing Kamilla's name out. She is so
I think they're going to link up. I really do.
And that is the only path for her, because if she keeps throwing out Kamilla's name, Kamilla, I think Kamilla has a lot more footing in the game, being close with Kyle, who's close with Joe and Eva, and they're going to get Mary out of there.
Yeah. I think that Mary, she hit the shot in the dark. She's the one that's also, she's had 9 lives. Like, I think that maybe there could be a little bit more room for Mary to work, but it is very hard for me to imagine a scenario where Mary is the winner.
I agree. Mary would not only have to dead this whole Kamilla thing, but she would also have to get in lockstep with Mitch and Star.
Yeah, I think so.
And I don't really see that happening either.
Yeah. Did you have any faves from the pre-merge, Tiffany?
Yes, I loved Say. I was so freaking sad when she went home. I was enjoying watching her play for so many reasons. She's entertaining. And I think that was one of the players where you just never know what's going to come next. You never know what's going to come out of her mouth next. And that's what I love to see on Survivor. I was so sad she didn't make the merge. Because even if she didn't win, I know she would have been a good jury member. Yeah.
I think that she was super fun to have on the show. Do you feel like that she was misunderstood by this cast?
Yes and no. I think they understood exactly who Say was. Say was just not somebody who you're going to get the okie doke over on. Yeah. And I think that was the problem. Say is, or at least from what I see, she's a person that speaks her mind. And I think in one of the episodes, she was saying how she just kind of can't be fake. But I think that was, her downfall. Because in Survivor, you got to be fake, at least to a certain extent. You got to be fake when you need to be, but also real when you need to be. And I think that they were a little bit intimidated by Say's realness and kind of how open and vocal she was about coming after people, chasing people around, looking for stuff. Like, I don't care. For some people, that's a liability going into the merge. So I see why they wanted to get her out of there, but I was sad that they did.
How do you think she would have fit in on Yanu?
Honestly, I think she would have fit in just fine. Yanu was a hot mess express. So I think that Say would have been right there in the midst of the drama, shaking things up with the rest of us.
Now, this season, we saw where the Vulu tribe, that they lost the first 3 immunity challenges, and then they did the tribe swap. Now, you all lost the first 3, right? But then, of course, divine intervention came in and struck down Randon. Tribal council got canceled. There was no tribe swap on your season. How do you think it would have changed things, though, if, Randon, that, somehow he doesn't sleep wrong, and then we get a tribe swap in your season?
Oh, that would have shook things up so much, because I think that not only would it have spread out the drama on Yanu, but it would have also spread out the drama that nobody got to see on Nami. Because as much of a hot mess as Yanu was, Nami was way more a hot mess. We just never saw it until we got to the merge, because they never went to tribal council. They hated each other. So them getting split apart and going into different places, that would have been so much drama. We would have got to tear apart that loyal Siga crew. It would have been mess, but in the best way. Yeah.
Do you think that it ultimately would have helped you? That I know it's like so many different things to project.
I don't think it would have helped or hurt me for real, because the downfall of my game wasn't who I was with. It was the fact that people couldn't keep their mouth shut. Regardless of where I was, if people would have found out about my idol, I would still been in danger.
Yeah, maybe it would have hurt. Maybe more people would have been intimidated that we have to take a shot at Tiffany.
Yeah, honestly, maybe I would have actually got to use my idol, because I'm not going to hold you. If I went on a different tribe and I was, kind of at the bottom, I would have used my idol that first night.
Yeah.
Maybe I would have got to the merge without it, and it wouldn't even been a target on my back.
So let me see if I have any curveballs for you.
Lord.
Okay. So like we try to do some research on the guests, and I saw that you went out to the Ron Clark Academy last week. How was that?
I did. Oh my gosh, that was so much fun. Ron Clark, first of all, that school is like Hogwarts.
Yeah, and you love that, right? I'm
a big Harry Potter fan, so I was just in my element. Also, Ron Clark is so much fun, so it was cool seeing everybody. The fans I got to hang out with them. I love Ron Clark.
Yeah, and any good stories from that?
Oh, let's see. Do I have any good stories? Not gonna lie to you, I was a little tips, so I don't. Actually, you know what? Any good stories? I think it was very fun to watch the 48 cast answer questions, like for the audience, because they were so passionate. And obviously, when we did our Ron Clark experience, you can see so much of that. Like when you're still in it, you're still like in the midst of the trauma, watching things live, finding out who backstabbed you on TV, and watching them get all riled up in the audience and go off on the mic. I was like, oh, I remember when we did that.
Yeah. And I want to get out there for one of those because I hear that it's a great experience. Yes. I would love to.
And the party aside, just the tour that, like, you know, Ron Clark takes us on a tour of the school. We got to see the classrooms and everything beforehand, before the party that night. Oh, it is incredible. The kids put on a step show. It was amazing. Okay. Now, can you tell me about the LA Reality Squad? The LA What is the LA Reality Squad?
Okay. I hear it's the group of Los Angeles reality stars that you are a core member of.
I didn't know. First of all, I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know we had a name. But yeah, there are a bunch of us out here. We hang out. We have good times.
And this is like the strong. So now you're saying that now there is an alliance.
There's not an alliance because none of us are like. A lot of us aren't even on the same shows.
Like, doesn't matter.
There's like some of us hanging out from Big Brother. We got the Summit. We got Amazing Race. Like there's
R.I.P. the Summit.
R.I.P. the Summit. Wait, they're not bringing it back.
Yeah, they announced it.
Oh no, that's so sad.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it sucks, but maybe some of those Summit people might find themselves on other CBS shows now.
Oh, maybe. Have you heard anything?
No, I haven't. This is literally just me running my mouth. But
maybe they could go to the challenge, but I kind of feel like that they're probably not going to bring them into like Big Brother or anything.
No, I mean, I could see a few of them like doing really well on Big Brother.
Maybe.
Yeah. You don't think they would?
I don't know them. Listen, I'm not in the North Carolina reality squad.
Oh yeah.
I don't know from anything.
So two of the people from the Summit that I hang out with a lot are Theron and Dennis, and they are who? Like I think they would do so good on a Big Brother. Dennis, I feel like he would be such a villain, and Theron would be a strategic mastermind. I would love to watch him on Big Brother or any reality show. Yeah.
Okay. I looked up, Dennis from the Summit. I found a Reddit thread. Dennis is a psycho. He claims to be an empathetic nurse, but his conniving and backstabbing ways on the Summit highlights a sinister side.
Let me tell you something.
Is that him?
Yes, you got it right. But Dennis, and it's so funny because Dennis is like one of my LA besties. We hang out all the time. Our dogs are best friends. But he was definitely a villain. And I could see him being a villain on any other show too. So if they don't put him on another show, that's their loss.
Yeah. Okay.
The psycho is crazy though. I can't wait to call him after this and let him know that.
Tell him about the Reddit thread.
Okay, wow. LOL.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he's gonna get a kick out of that.
Yeah, it's on the Summit Reddit. Did you know there was a Summit Reddit? They still have even though the show got canceled, they still have a Reddit.
I try to stay off of Reddit because I feel like they be talking so much trash on there. And I'm not a person that can avoid conflict when people come at me. So I feel like I would be in the trenches in the Reddit arguing with people. And I'm like, just stay out of the mess.
What, did you have a lot of smoke on social media during your season?
Not a lot of smoke, but I definitely argued with some people. I'm not proud of it.
On what platform?
Twitter.
On Twitter. And what did they say? They said something negative about you and you clap back?
Yeah. Listen, after a while, I had to realize, I'm like, why am I arguing with this faceless Twitter account? Like, it's a troll.
It was like a fan. It wasn't even like a former player or
it
alumni.
It literally was just some random fan. I read them for Phil, and then I stopped responding. They're like, wait, Tiffany, come back. I love you. I'm like, okay, so you just want to talk to me. You just want to get a rise out of me. I'm not doing this crap no more.
Yeah,
then I just started blocking everybody.
The negative behavior, you can't reward it.
No, that's literally what it was. They were just showing their behind on social media so they could get to talk to me. I'm like, babe, there are other ways to go.
Yeah, it's called cameo.com, okay?
Hello, I'll talk to you. I'll tell you whatever you want to. Go pay for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, you did something very cool that I want to hear about. That you got to attend a premiere of one of my favorite shows in a while. How did you get out to the Paradise premiere?
Oh my gosh. First of all, that show is so good.
You're telling me.
Yeah. I don't know how I got out there. They kind of just reached out to me on social media and invited me to the premiere. And I was like, okay, sounds good.
What was how did they reach out to you? Was it because of your work on Survivor? Was it because of your art?
It was art related. Like,
somebody
that I had met a while back in New York at an art event, knew somebody out in LA that was looking for people that are like influencers online and have followings and stuff like that. And then she recommended me to another girl out here who's really dope. And then the girl reached out to me. So it was kind of just like a domino effect of me meeting somebody back in New York that was really cool, that knew about me. And I wiggled my way on in there. But that premiere was awesome. The food was good too.
Was the cast there?
No, the cast wasn't there. I wish. I love Sterling.
Yeah. What do you love him from? This Is Us?
I love him from, well, yes, but I love him from Paradise because seeing him play that type of role, that's my jam. Like that thriller, political drama. Oh my gosh. Love it. And I feel like this is me seeing him in a new light.
Did you know what it was about when you went out to the premiere?
I had absolutely no idea. I just knew he was in it. And the ending of episode 1, because we got to watch the first episode, the ending of episode 1 when it revealed, I'm not going to get spoiled. But when you find out where they actually are, I was gagged.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, this is it.
Recaps of it with Chappelle on the Nothing But Netflix. We were hanging with Hulu for a couple of weeks, but I loved it.
It was so good.
Yeah,
I got to give them their flowers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very, very fun ride all the way through for Paradise. What else do you watch?
Ooh, let's see. What am I currently watching?
Well, I heard you did not like the ending to Severance.
Ooh, you trying to get me fired up on this podcast. Let me tell you something.
Don't spoil it, but you can talk about how you felt.
I was pissed. That's what I was. Shout out to Liz. I was pissed.
Yeah.
I was so angry at that ending. I felt very
here's Tiffany watching the Severance finale.
I'm pissed.
Yeah. And then you said,
"What the heck, you hoe bags?"
No, seriously. I'm like, why would y'all put me through all that emotional turmoil just to leave me unfulfilled like this?
Yeah, you didn't like that there's a cliffhanger.
Not only that there was a cliffhanger, but I felt like they did all that hard work for nothing. And I felt like the main character was a little bit duped. Mm-hmm. He was being stupid.
You'd say he...
Big mistake.
Yes!
You shouldn't have done that.
Yes, I felt like he played himself. Congratulations, you played yourself. Like, what was that? Oh, that was a mess. I was legitimately angry. I don't want to spoil it because I haven't seen it, but boy, that was
I saw you said you wish that you could unwatch it. Do you wish that you got severed and they could take away your memory?
I wish they could just take that whole episode out of my head because I felt like it was a waste of time and I went on an emotional roller coaster for no reason. I don't even know if I'm going to watch. Well, now I have to watch the episode when it comes back out, but they're going to have to do some work to win me back.
Okay. What are you working on with Rocker Ben? What are you doing with Ben Katzman?
Oh, I love Ben. So Ben is also a fellow artist. And, every once in a while we'll link up. We recently, he came over to hang out and we had like a doodle session. So basically what we did was I wrote a bunch of random words. I put them on pieces of paper in a jar. We each picked out like 3 random words. And then we were.
Yeah, I have the. Should I play the video?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay. Here you. Okay. You have a cup full of random words. Okay.
Yeah, a cup full of random words. We're each gonna pick 3, and we're just gonna go with the vibes.
It's an imagination station.
All right.
I fucking know I'm picking one more. I'm picking and sad to what you can't imagine.
So Ben's words are clouds, bamboo, and fire. Okay, that seems kind of easy to draw.
Yeah. He was a little triggered by those words. He was like, "This makes me feel like we're back on Survivor." Okay, man, but we're really good.
And your words are martini, carrot, and car.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, do you have to try to get him to guess what you're drawing?
No, we just the whole time we were literally just there talking, yapping, spilling tea. If you could listen to the audio of that doodle session, that is like the hottest gossip session of the century.
Okay, I bet. And where are you guys? This is like looks like is this a studio? Is this your house?
No, we're in like the community room in my building where I live at.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And this is the part where I just chat with y'all because
look at this camera work. How'd you get the camera on the ceiling? You have a drone in there?
No, it's like it's kind of like a little tripod thing where you can stick your phone and just hang it over the top of the table.
Baby, the tea that was spilled over this doodle session was nice and hot. I'm talking about the type of tea that you get when you out with the homies and you got a fat margarita in your hand and a
martini, not a margarita. Yeah. Okay.
Full of chips and guac. So in the interest,
did you do the improv show with Ben a couple of weeks ago?
So I went there, but I didn't get on stage and do the improv with
Why not? Were you nervous?
No, I wasn't. So Ben said that he was exercising his time advantage.
Yes.
Since I cut him to 30 seconds he cut my ability to speak at the improv show.
Yes. Now, if I remember that, was David there also?
He was.
Okay.
He got on stage at the improv. And so
how did he do?
He did good. They were fun. It was actually a really funny show. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I was kind of happy I didn't have to speak because I got to watch everybody else play around on stage.
Was that a one-time only show that they did?
Yeah. It was just like a pop-up because it was like we had a watch party at a bar that was right next door, and then we just went over there and it was like an impromptu improv show that Ben set up. It was so dope.
Yeah. And it was a Survivor watch party that turned into an improv show?
So yes and no. The improv show was in a theater next door. It was kind of like a dual event. We watched Survivor at the bar, and then people went next door to the improv theater, and then that's where the show was.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And would they do it again?
I hope so. I would definitely go back.
But would you perform?
You know what? I would. I've done improv before. I did improv at UCB in New York years ago. Yeah. It was fun.
How did that go?
Do it.
Yeah.
It was fun. Like I took improv, I think it was 101 and 102, and then we had like shows. We invited our friends and family. It was a whole big thing. I love improv.
Is that good practice for Survivor?
I think it's good practice for life. Doing improv, it helps you stay on your toes. It helps you stay in the moment. It helps you respond quickly.
Stay present.
Yes, exactly. It helps you kind of navigate through difficult situations because no matter what you're doing, you're always going to get curveballs. You got to yes and your way through life.
Yeah. And you can't be yes-anding if you're thinking about all the next moves you're going to make.
Exactly. You're getting it. Do you do improv?
I took a class one time. I had wanted to. It's something that I had like some regret about that I never did. And so I went, and the timing was not great that I went to go do this. So I went to the UCB in your neck of the woods now. And I went out there, and it was right after my second son was born. He was born in November, and I took an improv course in January. It was like every Monday night for like 7 or 8 weeks.
Oh, you can't be doing that with a newborn.
My wife has like these 2 little babies at home. I'm like, hey, it's like an hour away. I got my improv class tonight. She was not thrilled with that this was the time I took on like a new hobby, but like I gotta do something for me, all right now.
Yeah, just not when there are newborn babies at home. Hey, listen, it's not too late. You could get back into improv now.
Yeah. No, I really did enjoy it. I just feel like that it's, I do feel like it was a little, it was time consuming to get back and forth. And I feel like you have to like put a little bit more of a time investment into it than I was able to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely. I lived a little bit closer when I was in.
But it was very fun.
Yeah, it's fun. I would do it again.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for your improv performance. I hope I get an invite.
Oh, okay. Oh, to my show?
Yeah, let me know when the show is, because now I'm gonna hold you to it. You got to go back and do it.
Yeah, I feel like I would struggle with like where to start in terms of the improv, and I feel like I was trying to like write too much about where it was gonna go. Like I feel like I would really try to do too much in terms of like what this like. Oh, this is gonna be a great premise of what we're doing, as opposed to just be there in it.
I feel like that's like the opposite of what improv is. You can't.
I know. That's what I'm.
You can't plan improv. That's improv.
It didn't come naturally to me.
Toes.
Yeah. All right. Well, Tiffany, what's next for you?
What's next for me? I think I want to work on setting up another art show.
Yeah.
I want to.
How much work is that? You
know what? It is a lot of work because you have to. First of all, you have to do the art. So I got to figure out how many canvases I want to paint. I got to figure out a theme. I got to find a location. Like, it's definitely a one-woman show over here. But I think over the next couple months, I want to start setting up another solo show. Because I did 2 solo shows in New York, but I haven't done anything since I've been in Los Angeles. So this might be a good time to kind of get my feet wet out here.
And when you do a show, do people come in and is it just to like get exposure for your work, or do they come in and they like, okay, well, they will buy the art at the show?
Oh no, they buy the art at the shows.
Damn.
Yeah, I sell them. The canvases, they go.
Yeah.
That's the point of doing art. I'm an artist. I'm not here just for.
That's the point of doing art? That's not what I hear from people.
I mean, obviously, that's not the point of doing art. Having a show, you gotta
get that money, baby.
A living.
Yeah.
A living artist. I gotta sell my work so that I can pay my bills.
Hey, that's like me with this podcast, Tiffany.
See? Listen, you gotta sell the work so you can pay the bills. It's fun doing it, but at the end of the day, it gotta bring some money.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you think have you done a show since you've done Survivor?
I have not.
Okay. Do you think that there will be a lot of fans that come out to your show?
Oh, I would love that. That would be so cool.
Okay.
I think I would have to, because normally when I was in New York, I usually would announce my show like a month or 2 ahead of time. I think post Survivor, I would probably give a lot more like headway, like maybe a couple months, because I know there are fans all over the place. Maybe some people will want to fly in, or maybe I even do it close to like a Survivor event so people have time to kind of do both.
But what if they just come in and they don't bring their wallets? They're not there to buy anything. They're just there to, is that an issue? Like, were the serious art people gonna be annoyed?
No, not at all. In my past shows, not everybody bought things. Like, I do art so that people can see it, so that they can appreciate it. And I realize that not everybody's coming in dropping thousands of dollars on my canvases. But for people that kind of come in and just want to appreciate the art, I also like make sure I have things to sell at every price point. I sell prints, I sell stickers, I sell pins. And a lot of people who were just like wandering off the streets had no idea who I was. You know, they're finding out about my artwork for the first time, but maybe they'll leave with something else, you know? But if I can just show somebody something, make them feel something, introduce them to something new, I feel like that's just as rewarding.
Now, do you serve drinks at the art gallery? Now, because I'm so uncultured, Tiffany. I don't think I've ever been to an art showing, or if I was, I went to like a really weird one.
You know what? A lot of art shows do serve drinks. The last 2 solo shows that I did, I served drinks on opening night. And opening night usually is when I invite it's invite only. Like, I'll have like guests, I'll have other artists, my peers, they'll come and they'll get like a first look. And then usually during it's like a couple of days to a week following the show, that's when it's open to the public. Yeah. There may or may not be drinks there, maybe drinks that people can purchase, but like the open bar situation is usually just open at night. Okay.
All right. Well, make sure you're following Tiffany to make sure that you know when the next thing's happening. That's going to be Tiffy Crazy Cool.
Yes. The art show is coming. We don't know when, but I'll make sure all the fans have more than enough time to plan so they can pull up on me. Yeah. I love Survivor fans.
Okay. And then what else? Cameo?
Oh yeah, Cameo. I'm on Cameo. I get a lot of interesting Cameo requests.
Why? What kind of interesting Cameo requests do you get?
I'd say the most interesting one that I've gotten so far is two people had a friend who had a crush on me.
Okay.
And they wanted a cameo of me wishing her happy birthday, but also telling her how hot she was. And I'm like, okay. Cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's a little bit, I mean, if somebody else does it, is it fishing for compliments?
I mean, I guess it depends. I mean, maybe she is hot. I don't know.
They didn't give you a picture though. They just
didn't
said
give me a picture, so I'm just.
So you're just taking their word for it.
I'm just taking their word for it. If they think their friend is hot, then she's hot.
Yeah. What? Do you get other unusual requests on Cameo?
So I have not gotten unusual requests, like nothing super outlandish. Usually my thing, but I do have some friends that get some really strange requests.
Are they friends that were on Survivor, or are they in the LA reality? What's it called? The
LA reality. So
the LA reality squad.
That's actually so funny that is a thing. Some friends that were on Survivor, and some friends that are in the LA reality squad.
Like Dennis.
No, I don't think Dennis is on Cameo.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not sure, but I'm not going to tell you who it is, but people have gotten requests to like do weird things with their feet.
Oh, that's for a different site though.
But they ask on Cameo.
They ask on Cameo because it's cheaper.
It's so strange. Like,
yeah, I don't think I've ever gotten anything too weird. Sometimes like people like will, I know Q will like roast people. I've gotten like a little bit of like a, hey, like say that this person is an idiot or something like that.
Oh yeah, I haven't gotten any of those. I hope I don't. I don't want to call anybody an idiot.
I don't mind.
My Cameo is gonna be full of people asking me to call somebody idiots.
Yeah, you know what the worst Cameo is? Like something that's just like, oh, wish my friend happy birthday.
I mean, I don't mind those.
I need something to work with, Tiffany. You know I'm bad at improv. I need a story.
Oh, you mean like when they don't give you any details?
Oh yeah, you give me nothing.
Oh yeah.
What do they say? Go ahead, girl. Give them nothing.
I mean, and that's where the improv comes in. You got to think on your toes.
It's just like, all right, well, happy birthday. Birthdays are nice. You know, the cake is great.
I mean,
candles.
Be a quick cameo. If they don't give you anything to work with, be like, hey, I heard you're a Survivor fan. I want to wish you.
Yeah, but you know what though? Then they're gonna go on and like 1 star. Rob gave me nothing. They don't see like, oh well, your friend didn't have anything for me to work with.
Wait, so can't you message them back and like ask like for more information?
I guess so, but
see, it's
a little bit more back and forth than I'm really looking for on the Cameo.
Has anybody ever given you a 1-star review on your Cameo?
Well, can I look? I mean, I'm sure somebody probably did. I mean,
that's crazy.
Wouldn't be the first 1-star review of my life. Okay.
I don't think I ever got a 1-star review.
Oh wow! I mean, I'm sure you're doing a great job.
I try to give the people what they ask for.
Yeah. Let's see. Rob Cesternino, and has Rob Cesternino got a 1-star review? Let's see. I have let me see. Oh, look. Okay, I'll put my report card on the screen.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Read them and weep, Tiffany.
Let me see.
100% 5-star reviews.
5 stars. Okay, see? You're worth nothing. You never got anything under 5 stars.
Never. Okay.
Check you out.
How about that? And I don't know if I got a rating on every single one. More about Rob's birthday. This is all wrong. Look at this. Birth zodiac sign Gemini.
What's your actual zodiac sign?
Libra. Birthday May 27th. What the hell?
Where are they getting this information from?
41. Okay, I'll take that, but I don't know. I don't know what
Libra. Do you like the finer things in life?
Oh, nobody's ever asked me that before. I would say probably not, Tiffany. No.
Really? Usually, like my Libra friends, they're very particular. They like the finer things.
I guess I am particular, but I feel like that if anything, I'm saying to my wife, what did you spend on this?
Well, when I say finer things in life, that doesn't always have to mean like expenses. Like sometimes Libras, they like take very good care of themselves. They're very particular about their peace, their environment.
That I do.
Okay.
But No, as far as like, finer things, no, I don't have any nice art.
Well, you can change that at any time.
Yeah, maybe my wife,
Maybe I'll do a custom Rob Has a Podcast piece just for you.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah,
I have so much. Yeah, and what a great commercial for you it would be to have it in every single podcast.
Absolutely. All right, I guess I got to get started on that when we get off the phone. All
right. Well, Tiffany, this was so fun, and hopefully one day. You came out to the live show in Chicago. I was going to say that I'll see you in person, but hopefully we'll
you gotta let me know when the next live show is. I'll pull up.
Okay. Well, no more for this season. That's it.
Of course. Y'all gotta come back. Y'all gotta come to LA.
Come to the West Coast. Okay.
Yeah, West Coast. I see. As long as you're on the West Coast, I can make my way to you.
All right. Well, all right. Stay tuned for that then.
All right. I will.
Okay. Do you watch any? I know you're in the LA reality squad. Do you watch any of these other reality shows now?
Let's see. I watch Traders, of course. We all watch Traders.
Sure.
What other reality shows are out right now? I watched that show on Amazon Prime, The GOAT. That was interesting.
Oh, okay. I think you could say Beast Games.
I have not watched Beast Games, but I hear people talking about it a lot. Is that like a really good show? Do you like it?
It was fine.
Okay, so that's not really it's not enticing me to go watch it. It was fine, doesn't sound like a really review.
It wasn't my cup of tea.
What reality shows are you watching right now, other than like
really? I'm all in on Survivor right now.
Okay, I can see that. I mean, me too. But other than Survivor, and
I got done with Deal or No Deal Island.
That was good. That was a
yes. You like that one?
That was good. Yeah. I feel like. Wow, the gall you have to take it down to the wire like that.
Yep.
A well-deserved win, though. I can't even hate.
Yeah. Do you ever watch any Australian Survivor?
I don't. Don't you have to
Speaking
have like
of the Golden God,
like whatever access you have to have on your TV?
Yeah, we got all the links.
I don't have. Listen, send me the links and I'll watch. But I'm too lazy to go and do that myself. So.
All right, we'll hook you up. For everybody else, for all those patrons who do have those links, I'm going to be live on Friday for the patron Q&A, taking calls from the patrons. And, of course, you could subscribe to the podcast. 5-star reviews only there, too, okay? Go to getrhap.com for that. I love to read your comments as well on YouTube. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye. This is RHAP. We know reality TV.